Greetings, MelVee family, and a warm welcome to you all. Thank you for tuning into this podcast on the go with your host, Melusi. And this is my journey with God. You see, when we discovered how God leads his children, we discovered that he has given us victory through our storylines. And the Bible says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 11, and they overcame him by the blood and by the word of their testimony. So we believe when we share our journey, we are actually sharing God's story in our lives. Thank you so much for liking and for subscribing and for following this channel. Please make sure you do that right now if you haven't done it, so that next time when we upload more videos, you will get notifications and you will participate. Today I have a very exciting journey with God's story with one of my brothers. This has been in the making for a long time. Brother,
yes, sir.
Greetings, my brother.
Greetings, sir.
Finally, we get to do this.
Finally, in 2025, I'm sure we've got a year discussing this.
It's more than a year, actually, when we first talked about it.
Yeah.
And it's been a while, man.
It's been a while.
Welcome and greetings.
Thanks, man. Greetings to you too.
What a blessing.
Yeah, it is indeed
a
blessing to be
The last time we met was when we were recording the Emmanuel's music 30th anniversary.
Yes.
And we did that podcast. And
yes,
you were very quick to remind me.
Yes. After it.
That you owe me.
I'm still waiting for your call.
Yes. So now you are someone I believe has got so much to share.
Ish.
Because of the way the Lord has led you. It's like you were born in the vestry.
That's the best description of it.
Church was at home.
It was home.
So tell us about the background when you first discovered I am Dan Mphuti.
Yeah.
Where were you? Who was around you? What was happening? How has the Lord led you thus far?
Yes, like that's a very difficult. Imagine when I think about where I was, I become conscious of myself and who is around. Obviously, it's my parents, as I'm a firstborn.
All right.
I'm a firstborn of Pastor Mphuti, the late, and Mrs. Mphuti. So I was born in Johannesburg, and my father was deployed in Pretoria, Mamelodi Central, as a colporteur. And thereafter that, we moved to Kimberley, where my sister was born, Lerato. And then I think it was ordained when we got to Kroonstad, where my brother was born.
All right.
So
Mamelodi and then Kroonstad, which province is this?
Okay.
This is like, people don't know that.
Don't know
this
that.
Is like far apart.
So obviously I was born in Gauteng.
Yeah.
And my father was moved to Northern Cape, which is Kimberley.
Yes.
From Kimberley, we moved to Orange Free State. That is Kroonstad and Bethlehem.
Yes.
So that was Free State. And from there, we moved into Northern Cape again in a place called Vryburg. And then my father went to Eastern Cape in Bethel College. And I was now in boarding school in Kangele.
All right.
I was studying there. And then I came back when my father was already in Soweto again. He was deployed in Soweto. After Soweto, Kagiso, and then a place called Mahwili Import Traders Res in Limpopo. So from there, then we got back to Johannesburg.
So one of the things that's coming out already from your childhood is you were a tourist around. You moved.
You know what was the problem with that also? And that was something that it was like we were used to it. You start making friends. And suddenly, after making friends, there was this thing called workers' meeting.
Okay.
In TOC. You
knew when it happened.
We knew when it happens. When our father comes back, then she will ask, "Are we packing? Or are we still staying?"
Mommy will be asking.
Yes, all of us will be asking, "Are we packing or what?" And we'd say, "Ish." And then when he says that, we know we are moving.
Wow.
So most of the time, we would spend four years in a place, and then we move. So you can just imagine. And I've got a business. I've got a partner, and my business makes me to move around everywhere. Everywhere in South Africa.
Yeah.
And we got into a place, and we need a contact in in the municipality or what.
Yeah.
And I would always come up with somebody that I know.
Because you lived
Because
there.
I lived there. Or if I haven't lived there, I was in the province.
Yes, somewhere.
And Adventists, it's a small community.
Yes.
You know almost everyone.
Yes.
And he would say, but when there's no place that we go to that you don't know anyone. And I'm saying, blame my father, my parents on that. And besides that, even the work I'm doing makes me travel. Even Emmanuel makes me travel. So you can imagine traveling is in me.
Wow.
So that is like the advantage that I always say that, being a pastor was a privilege because you could adapt and make a lot of friends.
Wow.
Not being stuck in one place.
So that kind of created your network now.
Exactly.
Because you know almost so many places.
So many
around
places.
the country.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that, man. Pastors' kids and moving is such a huge thing.
It's a huge thing.
And back then there were not many pastors by then.
There were not many pastors.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd find our dad would pastor about 11, 12, 15 churches at a time, depending on where he was. So you can just, obviously Joburg is the one that takes more.
Yeah,
because
of his time,
it's wide. And there's TOC actually in Gauteng has a lot of churches. But then when you were, for instance, in Free State, you will be stationed in Kronstadt. And all the places around Kronstadt, my father would pastor them.
Wow.
And that's how it was.
Wow. So you would travel with him on his Sabbath escapades and all his...
Yes, but not always. Because it becomes too much at the time.
Yeah, it's not you who was called, it's him. So you might just...
But mind you, my father used to go with me when he's going to do, like, for instance, like Bible studies, things like that, and one would learn a lot from them.
So you would go with you just so you can participate and be part of the study?
Yes.
Wow.
And I also, one time I was in Dube Church. That's where my membership is.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. And I was a lay activity assistant leader.
Okay.
Yeah. And lay activity,
that means
that department
you do a lot of outreach.
More than going out,
Yeah.
you manage the programs of the church on a weekly basis.
All right.
Who's going to preach?
All right.
What is the program and all that. But also one thing that I kept on saying that you know what? What we need to do, we need to have some kind of a booklet.
Okay.
That booklet should be a small booklet that will say so many verses for State of the Dead, like from the beginning up to of the Bible study, our principles, our beliefs, so that somebody can be able to look at it and learn a lot from it in terms of a structured Bible study from the beginning up to the end.
All right.
You understand? Because then everybody can be able to go out there and being equipped when they say, handle this topic, State of the Dead. Every topic that is there when you when you do the Bible study.
Yeah.
And I think we still need to do that.
Wow. So early in the years, pastor is moving around your dad and you are around. How did this, your early upbringing as a pastor's kid, impact your faith and your beliefs and practices?
Let me make a disclaimer. When you are young, you just follow.
Okay.
You just follow. Whether it makes sense or not, you just follow. You're a pastor's kid, you go to Bible studies, you know what he's going to say to everyone and all that.
Yeah, because you've heard it before.
Yeah.
And many times.
And I was saying before we started that sometimes it didn't make sense that every morning I could hear a song and I know my dad is calling us for a morning prayer, 6 o'clock in the morning. Whether it makes sense or not at that time, you would have to do it.
Okay.
And in the evening. But,
And it's 5 a.m., it's cold.
And you feel, I don't want to wake up that early. And you would always pray that he becomes late and says, let's wake up at 7. He wouldn't miss that part.
Wow.
When it's 5 to 6, we would hear by Ngosi Egusenizwa. Then I know, time for prayer, all of us. But to come to your question.
But were there days when you didn't wake up?
Yeah, there's no way. you wouldn't not wake up.
Were there consequences for not waking up?
You would have to wake up. You would have to, otherwise, you don't want. But I'm okay. Coming to your question is, at the time, it didn't make sense. As much as you know, okay, there's God and you're a Christian, your father is a pastor, you have to live an exemplary life. You get all those principles and values at that time. Whether they make sense or not, it's something else.
Okay.
It comes to a point where you're just doing it because you want to be accepted in the family, or you're a pastor's kid.
Or
that's
let's
a way.
Just say you were obedient.
Exactly
to the authority in the house.
Exactly.
And you didn't want to act in a deviant way.
You understand?
Yeah.
But whether that thing it makes sense or not, that time you're not conscious about it.
Yeah.
It comes to a point where you realize that, by the way, I think I'm a Christian.
Okay.
And being a Christian, so it means I should follow this kind of lifestyle. I was baptized in 1986 by my father.
Okay. Wow.
In Bethlehem, just December. And I took that because he was always saying that I'm your pastor, I'm a father, but you're not going to get into heaven through my benefits of life. You're going to get to heaven alone.
Okay.
So you must meet Jesus alone, not because of me. It's not a beneficiary that you're a pastor's kid, you're going to make it to heaven automatically.
Okay.
So that's what made me to think, yeah, I think that's true.
Yes.
And that's when I said, I'm joining the baptismal class.
All right.
And then I got baptized.
How long did you take in that class?
Why are you asking me that question?
I know pastors' kids
you don't want to take that much.
You're not easily convinced with this thing.
Look, as much as I can, I could that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, remember, it can take you 6 months.
Yes.
To
go through the doctrines.
But sometimes it gets to the point where it becomes, you want to get baptized. So then it becomes more focused so that you are ready for being baptized.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that's how it happened. I think 6 months or somewhere. I can't remember very well. Yeah.
But you had challenges accepting your own journey, or there were blockages, or there were...
No, nothing.
Yeah.
I think that time it was like, for me, I'm growing up. And Jesus was baptized when? How many years?
Yeah, he was around about 12 years.
12 years, exactly. And I had passed that 12 years.
All right.
I was, I think, 14 or 15, somewhere there. And then my dad was saying, you must be baptized. And
so besides your dad, you haven't said much about your mom.
Oh, yes.
Who else was very influential in shaping your faith early then?
Both of them. My mother has always played that role of supporting my dad. Okay. And because we were more with her than our dad, who was always away. So she would keep that pot spinning or cooking, and making sure that whatever our dad wants, or as they agree as a couple, we need to... Actually, my dad said to her, you're not going to work. Okay. I want you to take care of our kids and my family, and actually instill those values and Christian way of life.
Principles,
So, yes, both of them, I guess, I think they're the ones that made us to be who we are with our journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you growing up in a pastor's family, so I would assume there were certain things the pastor expected you to achieve, because that will give glory to God. One of them was your education and having a career and being useful in the community. So let's go back and look at your journey with God through your career and the work that you are now doing. You're traveling a lot, I know. What work are you doing now?
Okay, fine. One thing interesting that you would know, because of back then, there were limited careers choices that you would have. All right. Because of the time that we were living in. Either you're a pastor, either you're a teacher, or you're a doctor. That kind of, those are the main things. So me started with being a pastor. I want to be a pastor.
Okay.
It looks cool. It looked cool that time.
All right.
You understand? Being a pastor.
Yes.
There's an incident that made me to rethink that in a different way.
Okay.
I'll tell you on both.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to be a doctor because I said, being a pastor, not for me.
Okay.
Being a doctor maybe would make sense. Even that, I realized that not for me.
Okay.
Third one, that is later in years now when I was kind of independent. Then I wanted to do music full time.
Okay.
And that's why my parents said, no, you're not going to do that. Why? No. Imali ile nto music yaphatalisa iyadlisa uzoba nemali uzodla are you going to have food?
All right.
I said, but I love it. And says, yes, you love it, but also you need to have education, proper one. That was the time after doing my matric where I had already applied in teachers training, which I was accepted. And then I had applied in Helderberg for business administration degree. And that I had applied. But I also applied in Funda Center in Soweto for music. And I went there. When I went there, I was called for an audition. Guess who I met when I got into class? I saw Mr. Mukali Kwapeng.
Okay.
And he said, you? Yeah. I said, yes. He says, And then you do those things, and I passed, and he says, we don't even discuss, you need to come.
All right.
I went back home being very excited and saying, I've been accepted. All others that I was accepted into, Mom didn't make me to be excited. Until I come, say, I've been accepted. I'm going to do music. And my mother said, no ways.
Oh, no.
No, you're not going there. My father said, my son, you're not going there.
Oh, no.
And Helderberg said, you can come.
Okay.
Then I went to Helderberg. Now come back to the question of career.
Yes.
Okay, I did business administration.
So it's clear their aspirations were like, look, we're seeing here in the home, yes, you've got the talent, you've got the gift.
Yeah.
But for career and work, we need you to go where there's going to be prospects for you to make money.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And they said, when you finish there, you can go back to what you wanted to do. We are not part of it. It's your own. Then we'll see how you finish. And I said, wow.
Okay.
What kind of a deal is this? But fine. Why did I stop wanting to be a pastor?
Yeah.
It's because one time when we moved to Johannesburg, so remember that time I was baptized, full member.
Yes.
Which made you to be part of the business meetings and all the meetings of the
administration,
church. And we were new in that area. One business meeting that we attended, myself and my mom and my younger sister, I think. And we could see that, what is happening in there, we didn't like.
Okay.
How our father was being treated, how people would talk to him as if he doesn't matter. And we are here as a family, it became very personal for us. And we said, no, this is not right. Then we had a meeting and we said at home after that, we said, we've been to several of these meetings. And looking at it, can we please go to other churches, not your church? Because if we keep on going there, our spirituality is not going to work out. We're not going to be, we actually will be the opposite of what we are. Because we cannot stand how people speak to you, how all those things are happening to you, and we are part of it. For us, you are a pastor, you are a dad, we are our hero in the house.
Yes.
So, and I said, no, this is where I don't want to go.
Wow.
I don't want to go there because being a pastor, then it means you are going to be like this. My kids are going to be treated like that. That changed. Then the doctor part, what made me not to want to do it, I realized that when I get into hospital, I become sick.
Okay.
I become sick when I get to the hospital, especially the smell and seeing people not being
drugs,
well and all those things.
Yeah.
It made me sick, like literally. I wouldn't stay long in a hospital.
All right.
So, and I thank God that I was only admitted once in my life.
All right.
At a hospital, and it was a private hospital. And then I realized that this is not for me.
Okay.
Hence, I went to Helderberg and I did business management. I did and whatever project management. So that's how my life, career-wise, was shaped up.
Okay.
Then I did that, and then 1996 I graduated.
All right.
Then 97 I started working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the question obviously I have is, how did your faith influence your choices of what you're gonna study? I know mom and dad said this is the way, but yes. What role did your faith play in the choices and the education that you took? I
think the fact that we are brought up in, I think my high school years, or let's say school years, most of the time I was in public schools until I went to Kangele, which is SDA. It's an Adventist school. I think from there, that's when one started being, I'm a Christian. I need to show. I need to be exemplary. I need to do what my parents taught me. And from there, I went to Helderberg. So what I'm simply saying, being in Adventist institutions helped to shape my life and also to choose the career the way I chose, because I think being in education, Adventist education, it shapes you up for many things.
All right.
It's not only about academic qualifications that you gain, but they would shape you as Christian education as you grow up.
All right.
And it made you now. I was a deacon when I was in Kangele, and I was anointed. I was ordained as a.
All right.
And I was still young at the time. But it's one of the things that makes you, think, by the way, I was a deacon. And besides being a deacon, what is the role that you play as a deacon? In our church, being a deacon is a very, very difficult position because there's a lot of things you look into. But those things, they shape you to say, I would rather be on the side of God. My faith in God is directing my paths in whatever that I'm doing.
You deal with those very difficult spiritual matters. Social issues.
Yes.
And so you are expected to be the foot soldier, the front line.
Yes.
Who helps to get, and even when it comes to the actual worship system, you are supposed to be in the forefront of making sure there's order.
It's a
lot of hard work.
It's a lot of hard work.
And it requires a lot of discipline and humility.
Yes.
Yeah, because people can get onto your nerves to say, hey, Mtikon, there's water spilled there.
Yeah. And I think more than anything, it shapes you because, but let me tell you why I'm saying it shapes you. A typical example of when I was in Helderberg, when I started suddenly I saw so many pastors, like, you see, Pastor Kumalo, the GC youth director. We were together at school, by the way.
All right.
And other pastors like Preacher Ngwenya, Pastor Kize, all those.
Okay.
And obviously we stayed at Bethel.
So you were boarding there?
Yeah. So point that I'm trying to make here is there was a difference between Bethel and Helderberg in terms of pastors, theology students.
All right.
When you're in Bethel College, when you're a pastor, the first day you walk into Bethel College, going to study theology, you become a pastor.
All right.
In this way, how we look at you, and you're already given that kind of responsibility of being.
Yes.
You are being built to be a pastor. It's not a career. It's a calling.
All right.
So they were called pastors even if it's first year.
Before they were trained.
You understand? And obviously now you have to act and you have to be a pastor, whether you are qualified or not.
All right.
So that changes your life and your thinking, that everybody is looking at me.
As a pastor. Okay.
I'm not supposed to be found in the places that are compromising. So coming back to your question is, as a pastor's kid, also there's those expectations.
Oh yeah, there's another chip on your shoulder.
You understand what
it's
I'm saying?
It's like you are your pastor's PA.
Exactly. So it makes you to have a certain life that you are supposed to be living.
All right.
Whether you fake it or it's
or you
correct.
Make it real.
No, you make it real. But that's how people expect you to be. But sometimes you find that it becomes unfair. That's why you find pastors' kids become rebellious because of other lot of things that are happening in the pastors' circles and families.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So that is what I'm saying. It makes you to be who you are until you realize that I'm in the ages that now I'm making my own personal choice.
Yeah.
That is not expected, where it is not forced, but you just become a Christian because you have to be.
So you started with Helderberg.
I started with Kangale.
Kangale. What
Yes.
qualification did you do there?
No, that was high school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
was
your
high
secondary education.
Yes.
And then to Helderberg.
To Helderberg, I was doing business management, business administration, and marketing.
But already you're seen like a pastor. Because
for me, as I was making that example so that you understand the expectations of people around you.
Yeah.
I was not expected to be a pastor. I was not doing a theology or whatever.
Yeah.
But because I'm a pastor's kid.
In a church institution.
Exactly. So you are expected.
And you are ordained as a deacon already.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to live that kind of life. And you always, it's at the back of your mind every time, whatever you do, I'm not supposed to be found in this place.
Yeah. So so I was right that you were born in the vestry, so your life had to be out of the vestry.
Not by choice, by you have to do it. But it comes to a point where you realize it's a good lifestyle. Anyway.
So from business, how did the Lord lead you?
From there I started working. I even worked at Bethel College, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, for 2 years. I was a business manager and accountant at that time. And then after that, I came back home. I started working. I was mostly in the business world.
All right.
And then after that, I've been working for a long time until then I decided to go on business, which is about, say, 7 years ago.
Okay.
All this time, I was, working
in the corporate space.
Yeah, in corporate space, because I worked for ABSA as an operations manager. I also worked for other companies where I was a general manager and operational manager.
All right.
And I worked as a financial director when now I started having shares in other companies.
All right.
Where I was financial director as well as marketing director. But it came to a point where I realized that this is so much a routine.
The rat race, as we call it.
It's a routine. I don't like routine.
Yeah.
Because it was expected, beginning of the month, you prepare everything, the books. End of the month, you must pay salaries. You have to make sure the books are 100%, all that. For me, it was monotonous.
All right.
Then I said to myself, okay, I need to change the career. I don't like this career.
Oh, those years of you moving up and down.
Yes.
are catching up with you now in business.
No, this is not what I want.
Okay.
Then I started looking at what makes me happy that I've done, because I think my change of career was saying, if I move from this, I need to do something that makes me happy so that I don't feel the stress. Then, and I looked now mixing it with my musical career.
Yes.
I used to organize events for Emmanuel, concerts.
All right.
And I would really see myself being very excited doing those things. And I thought about it that actually event management, it's what I love doing.
Okay.
More than anything, as much as I'm a musician, I write, I do that. But event management, that's what I love doing. I become fulfilled. Then I said, no, maybe I need to branch to project management.
Okay.
I need to change my life to project management, my career to project management. So then I started applying, and Vodacom, it was the first project management position that I acquired.
Okay.
From there.
Yeah.
So for some time, I was a project manager there. Then I moved to other companies where I was senior project manager.
All right.
Then my life became fulfilled.
All right.
That's when then one thing God has given me, He has given me a skill to be able to adapt in different environments. It doesn't take me much to settle or adapt into that.
You had to do it for survival.
I don't have a choice. I knew what you were going to say. You don't have a choice. You have to adapt.
It was instilled
When
you were young.
Maybe I would say God has called me for that.
Yes.
Because even now in my business, that's what I do.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in civil engineering, installing the fiber networks,
Optics. All right.
fiber optics.
All right.
Yeah, I'm doing that. At first, I was doing project management consulting.
Yeah.
Then I went into waters and installing meters, big meters.
Okay.
For the dams and what, but
those
huge meters,
water reticulation meters.
Yes.
Wow.
So I used to do that, and then I think 2009. That's where I changed to be in the fiber network.
All right.
Because at that time, for instance, when Rea Vaya was introduced to South Africa, DRT, before 2010 World Cup.
Yes.
We were part of the company that was installing the fiber network for that, and I was a project
for that
management.
network.
Yes.
All right.
Each and every station is connected. When the bus runs,
so that it's kept on time.
They can be able to monitor it where it was. So that was the first project that I did.
All right.
As for that. But remember that I didn't even go to school to that. But I already was in the
experience. You learned it on the job through management and adapting.
So since then I've been there.
Yeah. Now, career can be very challenging, and it always brings in a lot of challenges. And are there any career challenges you've faced, and how has your faith in God helped you to navigate those challenges in your workspace?
Hey, that is a very personal question, and I think that's where I saw God's hand, moving. In my life, since I started working, I had never applied for a job.
Okay.
I was always called.
Headhunted for something. All right.
From even when I went to the only job that I applied for was my very first job, where I was in the marketing, selling houses. That's the job that I applied for, and I got it. But while I was there, 2 months down the line, I was called to Bethel College.
All right.
And then I worked there, and then I relocated back, and I got there. At least I applied. I got temporary. I left my wife. I actually got married in Bethel.
Okay.
So I left my wife there, and I came. So I said, "Hey, we need to find our feet because I think the future of the institution was in question." Then we moved, and I started working there. But since then, I've been headhunted and all that. But there was a time in 2015, I lost my job, and I started doing business. It didn't work the way I wanted. Okay. It came to a point where I lost everything. My house, my everything. Lost everything. And my house was auctioned. I was staying in a very beautiful house. We had to live with my family. We are 4. Imagine staying in a 3-story house. And I went back to my parents. My parent in Kagiso stayed in one room. My boys were staying in the other room, and we had to be at home with my mom and my brother. Wow. That was a very challenging moment in my career, in my life generally, where you don't have income. I think that lasted for 3 years. Where I think that's where I always say God makes you to travel a different path.
And so often a hard one.
A hard one, so that you can be able to to learn a lot from life. And he's doing that purposely. And that was a difficult moment where your children come to you asking for money and you don't have money. And my wife was the one who was actually carrying us that time. And she would say, if they come to her asking for money and say, speak to your dad, and they would come to me and then ask me, why do you say they must come to me? And she says, you are the father of the house. I'll give you the money.
Yeah.
They will still feel it's coming from you. So, and that's the time that is more challenging even to the relationship.
Yes.
As a family, with a wife and what.
As a couple, yes.
Because they are not used to me not having money. They're not used to me not being able to provide. Even my wife too. You understand? So it was a tough moment where I think that's when I think my faith in God started having focus.
Okay.
To say now, God, this is where I am. I'm in a very unfamiliar territory. I need you to show me who you are.
Yeah.
And God did just that.
Wow.
I found a job and I was back. Even that's there are a lot of lessons that I've learned during that period.
Yeah.
It shaped me to be a person that I am now. When some things you take for granted, and I started looking at things different, to say it's very important that one, God is your strength. You rely on Him.
Okay.
Psalms 125 verse 1 says, those that trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion that will never be moved.
Wow.
That's my favorite verse.
Oh, okay.
And I've learned even before I got into that situation that if you trust in the Lord, He will guide your paths. It's not just about Sabbath, I'm going to church, and it's a full lifestyle.
Yeah.
If your lifestyle is dependent on God, then He will direct your paths. All decisions that are being made, somebody is making that decision for you don't even know. That is going to benefit you and your family.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Wow.
So that's where I became like one-on-one with God to say, this, I never thought I'd come to this. If you are God, you are there. Can you change this life?
Wow.
At the moment? And please, because it's too much now, I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It was a very tight and difficult moment. Yeah, and yeah. That's how I realized that God comes in and lifts you up. Not for yourself, but for other people around you.
Yeah.
People who know that this guy is fine, he's good, life is good. And he went down. And everything went down. I even resigned from Emmanuel because I felt this is too much, I can't handle it.
You're becoming a burden, yeah.
Yes. And at first, Emmanuel, I was carrying it. For a longest time.
Yeah.
Being a leader. And it demanded a lot of sacrifices, even financial and all that. But now when you realize that you can't do that, then you realize that I'm not, for now, I can't.
Okay.
Until I did that. So I'm saying that's when my journey with God became like personal, to say, God, please come through, please come through. And
how long was this deep?
3 years. Let's say 2.5 years. Yeah, 2-3 years. Yeah. And
now, how did this impact on your family? This phase or this challenge?
Hence, I said it was a very difficult moment. My children, when I went down, I was staying in the south where, you see where you were. I was in that area.
The place we came for that recording, yeah.
And
beautiful landscapes, by the way.
Very much.
Yes.
Very much.
Yeah.
So my firstborn was moving from higher primary to high school. And he was going to start in the high school there around in Glen Vista High. So we couldn't change because already it was too late to change. My other son was still in higher primary. So he went. I think we moved him to. He was coming from. They both were coming from Adventist school, which is in in Orange Grove, Patterson Park. That's where they were studying their primary from childhood.
Yeah,
because I believe in Adventist education.
Okay.
So that's what I did. Then we moved my younger son to another Christian school, Adventist school. So now, why am I talking about this? How it impacted the family. Moving from there, going to Kagiso, it meant my elder son, would have to travel 4 hours in a day to go to school with public transport. And it meant that he needs to leave the house at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. And then comes back. When he got home, it's about 7:30 in the evening.
Wow.
And that impacted, him, because he's tired. He can't do the homeworks. He has to do the homeworks in the setup. And then my other son then joined as well in that school.
All right.
So that was very strenuous. Economically, financially, it was strenuous, even mentally, emotionally, because you're always thinking about your kids that are going through such a difficult. They had to grow up in a very early age.
And realize that things are not...
They're not, yes. And I think also that helped because, kids, when they know that they can get everything anytime, sometimes they become misled about life.
And they become entitled.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you say to them, go to the taxi, he doesn't understand, why do you want me to go to a taxi? But now they had to go to the taxi. I remember one time my firstborn, we were waiting for him at Westgate to come because he was using the buses.
Yeah.
He couldn't come. He did not come. And we were like worried now. We're trying to phone him. His phone is in voicemail.
Oh.
And remember, you have to go to Johannesburg to come to Kagiso.
Yes, yeah.
Like Gandhi Square. And those areas are not friendly sometimes. Only to find he managed to come. We were just like panicking. They stole his wallet. They stole his cell phone.
Oh, no.
So he didn't have, so
anything to communicate.
Fortunately, anything to communicate.
Yeah.
So fortunately, he had the ticket. So he managed to come, but he missed the bus. He came later. When I saw him, I just was tearing.
Oh.
That now my son can go through this at this age. He's not yet ready for this. But, all those things. One time my younger son, same thing that happens is, for instance, the school was out early. So his mom, my wife, was working at Wits University. So I would pick them up, then come to pick him up, wait for my first son first to come in Joburg. And then we go together, pick up the mother, and then go pick up him as a son, at his school, because it was on the way to Kagiso.
All right.
So what happened is, and it was just God. Every time I think about that, I panic, like seriously panic. So we're coming, I was driving a Kumbi.
Yeah.
And we come to the robots. We're going to pick him up. And we're waiting at the robot. When I looked at my mirror, I said, that's my son there.
Okay.
He's coming to the Kumbi.
Okay.
And we didn't see him.
Wow.
And we're going to the robots. We're just waiting for the robots to go
green, and then we proceed. Yeah.
Imagine, he doesn't have a phone.
And this is a public space.
It's a public, you understand?
Yeah.
And then he comes, and I immediately, I said, Kiketsu. He said, where? He says, there he is. He comes open and gets in. And I said, and then why are you here? We're going to pick you up. And he says the school went out early. So he was walking to my wife's work, which is about 1.5 hours to 2 hours walk.
Wow.
And the question is, if we missed him there,
how are you going to
get him? And that's where I said it was God who directed that. And my eyes to look back in the mirror.
See.
He was thinking we were waiting for him.
Wow.
he didn't know that we were not even seeing him.
The timing was so perfect
Exactly.
that God enabled you to meet at
That's
that
when
point.
I think that incident stayed with me. Even now, I even shiver when I think about that. What could have happened to him? Because that road from there to it's a very Brixton.
Yeah.
You see how Brixton it is.
Very hectic.
Hectic.
Yeah, anything could have happened.
In the evening, around about 5.
Wow.
That was every time I think about it. So that's how my family was challenged by that. And I was praying to God that this shouldn't happen. I'm now at the breaking point, you know. But then he managed to provide that I get job.
Yeah.
And I started working. We moved back to the south.
That looks like those are phases and times when your faith as a person and as a family was really tested.
Very much.
And how did God come through? You've obviously have raised your family now, married for how many years?
26.
It's almost like over a quarter of a century.
Yes.
So it's been 25 years.
Yeah.
What are some of the experiences you've gone through that you would say, besides that period when you were unemployed and things were tough?
Yeah.
God came through, you got a job.
Yeah.
So you bounced back.
Yeah.
But are there any other moments when, as a family, your experiences were such that you were you were tested on that one, but any incidences where you felt God has strengthened your faith and has really brought you up to the point where you're like, wow, God is good?
There's two incidences I'm going to talk about. The first incident, it was early in my marriage. I got married in 1998.
All right.
And then we did not have kids for about 4 years. And the way we got married with my wife, it was so suspicious because you'll understand why I'm saying this.
Okay.
I went to Bethel and I worked there for a year, and she came to Bethel in, I think, in about August for an interview.
Okay.
And then even that, I think it was end of August. I was in a serious prayer season with God that time to say, I need a partner.
Wow.
I need a partner. Please show me.
Wow.
And she came to Bethel, and I said, when they were introducing her to me, I said, that's my wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I
name it and claim it.
Yeah, exactly. It happened that way. And the funniest thing about that, you know what is it? I went to Dr. Albisi, was the rector there.
Yes.
And I'm very close to the family. So usually I would go there on Sundays and I would have, lunch. They liked me. I was almost like a last born in the staff generally that time.
Okay.
So because I'm a pastor's kid, you are known.
Yes.
So I went this Sunday and I was staying there, laughing, and all that. And I said, I'm going now. And then MelVee says to me, I need to prepare. We've got a visitor. And she says, there's a lady coming for a position for the interview of the librarian. I said, oh, okay, that's nice. And I said to her, why don't you bring nice people so that I can be able to see and find someone?
All right.
And that was my answer.
Wow.
So she came and I was introduced. The rest is history. Wow. But we stayed 4 years without having kids. Now, when I think our relationship started in September 1997. And in April, she came to Bethel January. Yeah. She got the job.
Oh, wow, nice.
And so in January she came and we were, it was a good thing. But in April I said to her, you need to go home for these holidays, the Easter holidays. Okay. I'm going home. She says, why you want me to go home? I said, I'm going to send my people to your place for I need to speak to your parents and your parent, and I want to get married to you.
Wow.
Are you serious? I said, yes. Says, go. Says, but it's just like that. You're telling me I should go home. I said, yes. I've already spoken to my folks about it and my parents. We are busy preparing. I says, how? 6 months down the line.
Wow.
It happened. She still complains even now. She says, "When you didn't kneel down and say, 'Would you marry me?'" And I say,
You just said.
I said, "Hey, I'm an African person. Me going, sending your people is enough to say, I want to marry you." Not this thing of, hey, I want to kneel down,
and then
I want to
bring the
food,
ring.
I want to engage. I'm saying I'm not that kind of a person. I want to get married. I'm sending people.
That's it.
That's it.
You said that you say yes
Said,
or no.
She didn't believe me.
Wow.
Until they came. I was saying, yeah, they're coming.
Yeah.
And they came. And then it was end of April. We went back to, to school. And then I said, okay, we're getting married end of the month. And he says, why so fast? Everything.
Wow.
I said, what am I waiting for? We're paying for 2 rents here. Your rent, your house, and my house.
So we might as well just...
We're buying two groceries.
Wow.
That's expensive. Don't you think so? Says, yeah, Mark, the way. Why is... I said, hey, I told you when I proposed to you that I want a life partner.
Yes.
I did not want a girlfriend or what. To still...
Wow.
I'm enough now. I'm old enough to do that.
So you didn't waste time on the market looking for and trying this and dating this and that. No.
And my parents, they were surprised. And then you get married so quickly. I remember she says, my mother was like, are you okay? And my father was like, hey, Munna, are you hiding something? I'm saying, like what?
They thought maybe she's pregnant.
Exactly. And my father came to me and he says, hey, boy, you need to be clear with me.
Wow.
You need to be clear with me if there's something wrong.
Here. Okay.
There's nothing wrong. I said, what do you mean by what?
Yeah.
And no. Why so in a hurry? I said, no, it's fine. But then after we got married, they realized that she wasn't pregnant.
Okay.
So a year passed, 2nd year passed, 3rd year passed. Then he comes to me and he says, boy, you're married now. I said, so? You can never pay me. I said, so that's the reason.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying? I said, now you can get, and my mother was saying that now you can get married. You can get we're looking for a grandchild.
Come on,
now.
Give us one.
Give us one. I said,
and those are some of the pressures we face in our marriages, and that
Exactly.
can actually be such a challenge,
Exactly.
especially if there's a problem.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like they were saying, why 3, 4, 5? And they thought this was, that is the reason why I got married quickly. And suddenly now. But the thing is, we agreed. We said, look, we dated for a short period of time. Let's get to know each other first before we have kids.
Okay.
It was a plan.
All right.
But that plan somehow was problematic because now everybody around us was saying, when are you getting it? But only to find that there were some issues. And I went to the doctor. The doctor said, Ish, you have to go through a treatment.
Okay.
Because I think you have some problems or whatever. And my wife was saying, that doesn't change how I look at you. Fine.
All right.
So, and we started praying.
Yeah.
And I think it was getting into me now.
All right.
It was getting into me to say, no, man, this is now, okay, 4 years is passed, 3 years has passed. What's happening, And the doctor said to me, you know what, then don't be stressed by the pressures of people. People will talk. When are you getting married? When you are married, they will say, when are you getting a kid? When you got the kid, you need a second one. You got that one, they say,
they'll keep demanding.
You need a girl now. You've got boy, you need a girl. All those things.
Yeah.
And he says society is built that way. There's some expectations that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we're like, and you see, that's why I always say to my wife, I've got a personal, God is biased when it comes to me.
All right.
I've got a personal relationship with him. When I want something, he knows. I speak to him in a certain way.
Yeah.
And he responds to that. That's my relationship with God.
Okay.
So I started praying. And then I remember I was working with another friend, or for a guy, a friend of mine, Bongan Smang. And at some point he could see that I'm not okay. And he says to me, are you okay? His wife is a doctor, by the way, medical doctor.
Yes. Ubus.
Bus, yeah.
Yes.
And I said to him, I'm not fine, man. This thing, I think my wife is getting into her.
All right.
And I think I can stress about anything, but not my wife. My wife just, it hits me.
Mm.
And he said, I'll speak to my wife and let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, she said, you know what? These days, things are not happening the way they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
That thing, don't rush it. Don't let it get into you.
Yeah.
And keep on praying.
Mm.
I said, I've been praying.
Mm.
It was, and it was just towards the end of the year. We were preparing to go for holidays.
All right.
And she says to me, I'm waiting for you.
Uh-huh.
When are you coming home? I said, I'm finishing. I should be home at about 9 in the evening.
All right.
Says, I'll wait for you. When I got there, I could see that she's disappointed that I didn't come earlier.
Yeah.
And then she says to me, you know, you are disappointing. I said, why? I'm working, Moose.
Yeah.
She says, I want us to talk. Okay, what's wrong? We are pregnant.
Wow.
Are you serious? I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep. I'm thinking I'm going to be a father. Wow.
Finally.
Wow. So that's why my firstborn is Tato.
Okay.
God's will.
Yes.
Has happened. Tato ya hai is a hate.
It's happened.
And when I told Bongani and he says, ye of little faith. I said,
I can almost see Bongani say it with the swag.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, wow. And it was December, we're going to Stasa. And he was saying, hey, that's God.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
So finally you're becoming...
Yeah, and Tato was... And the funniest thing about that was how he was conceived. A friend of ours, we've got close, Bongi's friend.
Uh-huh.
She's the one that is responsible for Bongi being an Adventist.
All right.
From Fryhead. My wife is from Fryhead in KZN. Uh-huh. So those are close friends.
Okay.
Yeah, him, her, and her husband, M2, CB.
All right.
So we went to see them. Their second born was born on that day, and we went to, welcome the new baby and all that.
Yes.
And then they say to us, "You are next." I said,
"Pressure."
That one. that is. I receive. It's gonna happen.
Wow.
That very night.
Wow.
Because when we calculate it, points back to that.
To that very moment.
Yes. Now, as two couples, we're very close from 97. So they had the first born. I went to their wedding.
Okay.
97, and I said to them, next wedding is mine.
And
it
98.
happened in 98.
Wow.
We got married, and then they got the first son, who was actually a bit older. There's more years between him and their second born.
All right.
And then after that, then he was, the second one was born.
And so when you went for that second born, that's when he said,
they said to us, you are next. And I said, I receive, it's going to happen. Wow. I claim it in God's name. So it happened. So Tato was born a year later.
Wow.
And then after that, and then while we still, Tato is there a year later, and she says to me, I'm pregnant. I said, Then all the gates are open suddenly.
They're now coming.
They're coming just like that.
Wow.
But we miscarried.
Oh, no.
We were praying for a daughter.
Oh, no.
But we miscarried about 6 months after that. Geketso was born. She told me, I'm pregnant. I said, this one we need to pray for.
Oh, yes.
We need God to protect. So if you look at my sons, Tato was born on the 18th of August, 2003.
All right.
Geketso was born the 22nd of August, 2005.
Wow.
4 days apart. It's a project management at place.
You had to bring all guns blazing to make sure the alignment.
So what happens is that, So there was this. His name is Kuhle. The Msibi's
Yes,
second
the
son.
friend to your wife, yeah.
Yeah, and then Tato was born a year later, and then they received a baby girl a year later.
Wow.
A year later, Kikets was born.
Oh,
so from they are like, and they're very close.
Wow.
They're very close.
All of his children
It's
from
like
these families.
this. We
Because
say
they were
when
spoken of in prayer.
Exactly.
And they were declared and received
Exactly.
in the spirit.
So that is the incident that
Wow.
I saw God,
strengthening your faith.
my faith. And I say, whenever we know we pray in a special way, God comes in. And then there was an issue of losing a job. And all this time, my wife is a prayer warrior, by the way. She's a prayer warrior.
Yes.
So whenever she says we need to pray, I know we've got a project now to pray for.
Yeah.
And I think she's the one that keeps us intact.
Yes.
Because she's a religious, she's a Christian, she's a praying warrior.
Yeah.
So my whenever we face a difficult situation at home, we start having some a specific, and we become deliberate about it. To say, let's speak to God in a special way.
Wow.
Even in my business, when I need something, I say, hey, we need to speak to God, send a WhatsApp.
Yes.
So that God could answer.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a kind of all the challenges but those ones are the biggest that I share with you. When Tato was born, I don't know how excited I was when he was born.
Couldn't sleep, you said?
Yeah.
Just the news of knowing there's a little one coming.
Sleep when somebody like you is coming.
Wow. Wow.
So, but that's God's providence, and that's God's mercy, and that's how God powerful He is.
Wow.
He gave us time to bond with one another first. And then after that, the children came at the right time.
Yes.
At the right time. Fullness of time.
Powerful. Now, we can't finish this podcast without talking about your journey with music.
Hey, you're getting more personal.
So I know you've hinted a little bit here and there, but I really need us to talk about that because I see your journey with God there. Where did the gift come from? Is it something endowed? You almost wanted to go for training in Soweto. You were accepted for this place.
And I still cry for that. Anyway, it's fine. It's God's way.
Yeah.
I'm raised as a pastor.
Yes.
We are raised you have everything as a pastor. Pastor family.
Yes.
You've got everything you need. You've got spirit of prophecy. You've got the Bible. You've got the teachings. You've got hymnals. You've got music.
You've got cassettes back then.
You've got cassettes and records.
And VHS.
And all those things. I'm a very big collector of music. But how I think my mother, that's where my mother comes in.
Okay.
My mother comes in a more closer way in life in general, especially relationships. My mother could sit and sleep at her bed and she would ask me, are you having a girlfriend? Who? And she would tip me all the time.
All right.
We have that special relationship with my mom.
Nice.
Very much. And she would know all my girlfriends.
All right.
And that part was always there. But then music-wise, my mother also loves music. She's a singer. She can sing.
All right.
My father could sing. We sang in a quartet with my dad. My father was singing first tenor. I was singing second tenor. Pastor Mota was singing baritone.
Okay.
Bongan Mota was singing bass.
Wow.
In that quartet.
Where was this?
Yo, it's a long time ago. I remember we performed in a camp meeting as well. Hey, that's a long time ago. I think it was 90s, if not 80s. 90s. Yeah, yes. 90s. Yeah. So we used to sing there. My father was a very big fan of King Cyril's.
All right.
Hence, we have a lot of LPs. My mom, that's a person I really admire when it comes to that. She's the person who opened my musical bank, I would want to say.
Wow. In
this way. When my mother, wherever, we used to sing trio. Myself, my mother and my sister. We used to sing it every time. My mother taught us to sing. And she would, we would sing together. But then what she used to do was, because she had a business, by the way.
Okay.
So she used to travel a lot with business, and my dad. And whenever she went out, maybe coming to Joburg, when she comes back, she wouldn't come with sweets and what. She would come with new music.
Wow. And
that, all the time when she's away, I would ask her when she comes, what music have you brought? Wow. She'd say, no, here's the cassettes, go to them. When I listen to them, obviously heritage, there's no release of heritage in Ghanaians.
All right.
And Kinserals.
All right.
However, she used to bring a wide range of music. American choirs, gospel choirs, different kind of music. And I'm saying, why? And she says, gospel is gospel.
Doesn't matter the genre.
Doesn't matter whether it's from church or from Adventist heritage.
Or from where,
You must. And that widened my perspective of music. So she influenced me a lot on that.
Wow.
And I think that's why I started experimenting about music. You see, Tlapo, I remember when we were still at Bethlehem. She would come with new music. We had this, this Philips, the 2 speakers that has an LP and cassette.
Yes, in the middle.
In the middle, and then the speakers are You know what we used to do with Queen? When there's a new music, I remember there's a one that we used to Touch of the Country, heritage singers. And he would sit on the side of the speaker. I sit on the side of the speaker. We listen to the correctness of the parts, how
they are sounding and the notes.
Remember those where you would use the PM10, PP10 batteries?
Yes.
And it would come to a point where it says, I am tired.
It's now getting slower.
And we always got into trouble with them. They said, you finish the batteries all the time. And
oh, wow. So you're listening in to pick up the note.
The notes.
And you were transcribing it.
Yes. Of each part.
Wow.
So that we had a group. And it was started by my mother. So we used to listen so that we took those songs to the group.
And you couldn't even contact the heritage for that music.
What is that? Now, one thing interesting about those things is sometimes with a cassette, and a cassette, you feel all the ocean before you hear the right lyrics of the song.
So it goes.
So you make up the lyrics. That's how we come.
So you mean you could sit there and hear that's a do, that's a re, mi, fa, so by each part?
By each part. And we listened to all the parts. We couldn't try.
And the scaling?
We couldn't do that. That's school. Music was called local mangai. Tina would listen to music and from the memory, we will go and teach. No, speakers, it doesn't say that. No, it says that. And then we go back to the reference and listen.
You listen again.
Yeah, you see?
Wow.
So that's how we used to. And from that experience, one started saying, let me experiment. Wherever I go, wherever I went, I would start a group. Wherever we moved, I would start a group.
Wow.
And I would direct the group. In all the areas that my father has been, and let me say from Kronstadt upwards, because then I was a bit, older.
Mature then, yeah.
So I moved, I went to Kangele. My first song that I wrote was in Kangele.
So now the gift is maturing.
It's maturing.
And blossoming into something
else.
You are now composing songs.
I was now writing. My first song but I think before I composed, I was rearranging, doing arrangements.
All right, yeah.
But it came to a point, said, but I can do this. But now there's 3 things I need to mention musically. The person that influenced me to write music, like now writing it down, was Mr. Jerry Yaze. You know Jerry Yaze?
Yes.
I remember Jerry comes to Kangele because I had a group that I was directing. There was a song that I loved the most. And I said to him, Prajer, here's the cassette. I want the song, We Shall Behold Him. I want to sing it correctly.
We shall behold him.
Yes, Continentals.
Yes.
So I said, please, can you write the notes of the song? And he says, okay, come with it. Brought a pen. from soprano, wrote
The notes.
the notes word by word, and then he says, "I'm only writing the notes. You can put the words after." I said, "It's fine." He wrote everything. 20 minutes here, he was done with that song. Wow. And he gave me, and we sang it. It sounded like exactly.
The notes were exactly the original.
Yeah.
So Africans have this sheet in their, the music sheet in their head, and they can tell that soprano is a fa. This is the re, mi.
We didn't have scores.
No.
We never used that to rally. So for me, that was an inspiration. I said, I want to write like this guy.
Wow.
That's when I joined the choir at Kangele, just to learn do, re, mi, fa, so. And I learned it, and I said, I'm going to write myself. Then there's a guy called Lubaba Mxoli. His brother is Zuksani Mxoli, the doctor.
Yes, the philanthropist preacher, yes. Yeah.
His brother, his elder brother, we were together at school. Okay. So we were like this. So we did music by corresponding with royal music. So he was teaching me all those things, and we were experimenting. We were singing in 2 quartets with him. Wow. So we would transcribe Herald's music and make sure that it comes out the way it was. Wow. So those are the people in my life that shaped my music. That guy, Baba Mxoli, was for me, he's the one that actually influenced me and made me to go to write.
Yeah.
Don't only be content with listen with your ear. Write it down. Yeah. Write it down. And then start writing. And I started writing that time. I went to Helderberg. I wanted to learn staff notation. Yes. And I joined the choir. So I don't like choral music.
Okay.
I don't like it. I joined the choirs for the specific reason of learning.
All right.
The practical way of writing.
Of writing the music, yes. Yeah? Because you are now used to just listening.
You understand?
All right.
I even did piano at Helderberg. So, but I didn't do it that much. By the way, Krina will tell you this. When we were together...
I think we must get him right there.
Yes, we must get him.
We must bring him here.
We used to go together and travel for about, say, 5 kilometers by foot. Going to another section of the location, there's a guy who had an organ. We went there solely to visit that family to play organ.
Wow.
Sometimes we would go there and come back. They don't let us play. And we would come back disappointed.
Oh.
And he will tell you, that time I was the one playing better than him.
Really?
Yeah.
But now
the day you speak to him, ask him that question.
But now you dare not say that. He's now the guru.
He was surprised when we met in Joburg. When he was playing, I'm saying, hey, so you play this way now? He says, yeah.
Wow.
And he says, play. I said, nah, I don't play. I said, but you were better than me. But to cut the long story short, that's my journey musical. So I started writing when I was in Kangele. And I started writing for the first group I wrote. It was a Chapel 8.
So this music gift grows.
Yeah.
And by the time you reach the 1994, I'm connecting now the dots
with Emmanuel.
Yeah. Where does that come from? Talk to us about that. Because it looks like from there you have raised up a generation of singers.
So there's a group called Imperial Male Voice. We are busy. I mean, we started in Kangele by Bongani Msimang.
All right.
I think we're busy with, there's a project that we did together. That group that time is the one that actually was moving away from the normal quinceañeras, whatever.
Okay.
So we were doing a different style of music. So that's the group I started writing for.
All right.
That's the group that I started writing for. We were actually celebrating 30 years in 2018. Yeah, we're still there, but we are not a performing group. We used to perform that time.
You mean all the members are still alive somewhere?
There's only 2 members. Tsepo Machake, he passed away in 2022.
Okay.
And then there's Walter, who passed away in I think it's 2015 or somewhere there. I can't remember. Or 2018, somewhere there. Yeah, he was a bass guy. And Tsepo Machake was a first tenor.
All right.
So, yeah, That's the group that we.
And Bongani was part of that as well?
Bongani is the one that started the group in Kangele.
All right.
Yeah, but he left there. We sang with him for about 3 months, and then he came back to Joburg.
All right.
So we continued. So when we came back for holidays, we would practice because most of us were from Joburg.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So from there, that's where I experimented a lot by writing and arranging. And other groups in Kangele that I used to sing in.
Yes.
Then fast forward to 1994 when Gap, because he knew Imperial was known that time.
Okay.
Like it was one of those groups.
Yeah, because if you could travel for weddings all over to KZN,
yes,
it means people knew you.
So, and that time, remember when you do new music, people
Everyone
will pay
wants
attention to you.
To hear, yeah?
Yes, yeah? They would say, this group, you understand? And I think God connected us because we had, most of us were Joburg. Some guys were from Deepen, and Pastor Mafuya at that time was in Eastern Cape. So, and I think that is what made us to be known, the kind of music and whatever. Right. So hence I'm saying that's where I started experimenting a lot, writing music.
So
Gap, as I said, do you remember the last one? I a podcast with Emmanuel.
Yes.
I narrated the fact that family, I grew up in that family musically.
All right.
I used to walk there, and the Gap Mojapilu, Dan Mojapilu, the whole family.
Yes.
That's why you have Mojapilu's family.
The family singing.
The family from the dad. The dad was the one that would fire in the house with music, and the whole family would catch the music. Wow. So that used to fascinate me. So that is why I would walk about 2 hours to there. And sometimes I sleep there. Sometimes my parents knew that if I'm not in Javelin, we used to stay in Javelin.
Yeah,
I'm with them.
All right.
Yeah. So that's how me and Gap connected, and then all that. So Emmanuel, when Emmanuel started, he spoke to me about it. Says, I need to start a group, but this group I wanted to do its own music. And I think the target was he wanted us to write. That's where Gina came in, and we were writing when he passed away. Yeah. So Emmanuel then became my home musically.
All right.
There's other groups that I'm also involved in. I just released, I think 2022, I released a group from Nelspruit, Redeemed.
Okay.
I did an album with them. But I also work with different other groups besides Emmanuel. I think that writing, production, that's my calling. I stopped singing long time ago because my focus has always been that.
All right.
That I want to write, I want to arrange, I want to manage, I want to produce, I want to, that has always been my calling.
Wow.
And I think, as I always believe, that we are musical ministers. My father was a pastor, and I'm a musical pastor, musical minister.
Wow.
Because my messages, I write it with music.
You don't preach them as in the pulpit, but you sing them.
You sing them.
Wow.
So you write those for that. So that's how my journey has been musically. And the rest is history.
Are your sons also coming up in the same area, or they are putting their own direction as well?
My sons, yeah, they are. My firstborn he plays piano.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's been involved in this. There's a project that I'm doing with Pastor Mdiri, Orion. So the release that we are busy with now to release in 2020.
Mdiri is also one of them, very musically talented.
We come way back with Pastor Mdiri.
Wow.
Way back. And very close person, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. So my son plays there.
Okay.
My son plays there. And then my other son has taken the technical aspect of me, sound engineering.
All right.
Yeah, he loves that. He relieves me when there are times where I say, even the 30th anniversary, he was involved. He was also managing the technical.
So the first time I saw you, I was quite fascinated. Now that you talk about the engineering, you had been invited by the late evangelist Solomon Kuno.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel was singing at the TUT in Pretoria.
Yeah.
And I still have the video. You feature in that video. I think I'm going to play it right there for people to see. So I see you sitting on the sound desk right in front of the auditorium. And
I think I remember something like that.
You were there.
Yeah.
I was doing the videos.
You were doing the video.
That's when we recorded. It's not an easy road. And a couple of others.
I remember that.
I was speaking there as well. And Kuno had organized this bridge to
remember that.
ministry.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm seeing these guys on the sound all the way. And I'm like, I've never seen a group that has their own sound engineer. So that's when I approached you and I was like, we talked a little bit and you gave me a feed.
Yes.
And that feed, I never changed anything in the output. Because back then we didn't know how to edit sounds and all of that. So we always make sure the recording is clean.
It's clean.
That sound was clean. That you gave me.
Eish.
So I can confirm that that's a gift God has given you.
And I mean,
people don't know that when you walked in here, I was struggling with that microphone. And the moment you came in, we kind of quickly diagnosed, no, Melusi, your problem is not your desk, it is your mic. And I'm like, wow, Isangoma says sound. Yes. Thank you so much, my brother. Now, obviously, where you are now, you've got future aspirations for your family, for your business, for your children. What are some of the future aspirations you still have on your journey with God? What are the things you want Him to do with you still, if He gives you more life? Yeah.
Look, I always say this even to my business partners to say, when I retire, I'm going to focus more on my calling of music.
All right.
And like to do it seriously, like now focusing on it. Because I believe that's why God called me.
All right.
To minister to everyone. And that's my biggest aspiration to say, as much as I'm doing it now, I'm not doing it to the scale that I would want to do, because obviously I'm more about business and focusing there to carry my family and also, to achieve other things that I want to achieve.
Yes.
Because we are called to minister. And that's my calling. My mother always says that when from childhood, in the and that's where you've been.
Wow.
Even now, and she says, I always thank God about you guys, because you are still in church and you are still loving your Lord and that. That's my biggest calling. I want to do that like seriously. But my focus obviously is on business and to make life easy for everyone.
Yeah.
Because that supports the ministry.
True.
That supports the ministry.
Yeah.
And I guess even yourself. You depend on that to be able to support this ministry.
Oh yeah, no, things don't just...
They don't just happen.
Salvation
like
is free.
Yes.
But you have to buy your microphone.
You have to, exactly.
You buy your Bible.
And you have to buy your mixer. You have to buy your everything.
Yes.
To actually minister.
So there's a business of ministry.
Yes. For me, that's where my calling is. And I would like to do that. And if there's ever one thing that I would feel good about... is when Jesus come, me and my family make it to heaven, and everybody else that we influence through
join
the music, through the message, our lives should be able to change other people for heaven. So that is the biggest thing that one always live for.
Yes. Yeah. So if you were to inspire somebody, a young person out there hoping to work with you, what are the principles you would say they should espouse if they are to be successful in the writing, in the rearranging, in the composing, and even in the sound space that you are in now?
We are a vessel that should be willing to be used for God's business of saving souls. And I think that's our biggest purpose of life. God has brought us for that reason. Yes, we're doing business. Yes, we're having fun time. At the end of the day, God has brought you here for a serious purpose. And as long as you haven't finished that purpose, God is still keeping you there. And I think for us, that is the biggest calling that we have as Christians. And whatever you do, you must do it to the fullest. So that if you're not there, people will have a lasting memory of what you've done for those people. Yesterday, with my family prayer time, we were talking about that. I think the lesson talks about love this week. And that's what we talked about. I was saying to them, you know, love has been demonstrated by God to us. To die on the cross, to set us free, and to save others.
Amen.
And love is not love if it's not experienced by somebody. You can't say you love when someone has not experienced the love that you give.
True.
So love must be given away for somebody to be able to experience love.
Yeah.
God demonstrated that by dying for us. So that He buys salvation for us. When we are destined for destruction, then we are destined, we have a second chance to life.
Yeah.
And that is what makes life complete.
Amen.
We are
I'm
vessels.
almost saying amen now. You're preaching to me.
I'm a pastor's kid.
Yeah.
So if I were to say everything, you know, people think that umsebenzi kaNkulunkulu is when we go to church. And it's not that. It's a whole complete life.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, if you are in business, counting the money, doing it for God, somebody's gonna be saved.
Yeah.
By that. So every aspect of life is all complete in God's business of saving soul.
Yeah, be a vessel, meaning you must receive and keep in custody and be available to share. With others whenever they need it. So you must never feel that you are running out. It's not about you. It's about the one who filled you.
Exactly.
He can also fill you.
Yeah. And we have to fill that cup by having relationship with God. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, as you give to others, you mentioned earlier on, I think, that you've got special projects you're doing with other groups. Any highlights of the special ones? You say this one is a big one, and I'm going to work on this one for a while.
But how do you ask me that kind of a question? Everything is like when you have babies. There's no one that is favorite. All of them for you are special. I know. I do a lot of that, you know.
Okay.
For me, as I said to you, writing, producing, and arranging and directing is my passion. You know, we just did the 30th anniversary.
Yes, with Emmanuel.
EMG. That was a big thing for us this year, this past year, by the way. It's 2025 now.
Yeah.
And also, I'm also busy with, as I said, with Pastor Mutiri, with a project where we combine different artists from different provinces. And we are doing the second release. It's gonna be launched sometime this year late.
Nice.
It's a visual. We did the first one, and I think Life Destiny has been playing.
Yes, I saw it on Life Destiny.
Orion is. Yes. Orion.
Yeah.
Yes. And some
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's what we're busy with. And other things that musically I do, because I get requested by different people to say, please come, help us, come. And hence I'm saying, when I'm called for that, I jump. I don't ask questions.
Yeah.
I don't ask questions.
You run.
I run because that's my passion.
Amen.
And I do it without even thinking about other things.
Yes.
That's a gift that God has given us.
Yeah. Now, let's wrap this up. And I wanted to ask you some personal questions.
Yeah.
Very short answers. No thinking about it. Your favorite meal? Food? When Dan is really excited, he wants this
macaroni and cheese.
All right, a cheese boy.
Yeah. I'm a vegetarian, so when you're a vegetarian, you don't have many things that excite you.
Yes.
As other people who are eating meat.
Yes.
Yeah, so my favorite dish, my wife knows. When she does that, she speaks to my heart. Yeah, I'm a cheese person. I'm very cheesy.
Great. Everyone has their nightmares in life, whether real or imagined. What's your nightmare in life? The thing you say, Lord, this one must never happen. It will scare me to death.
Yo.
Or some say my greatest fears. You know, Job says the thing I feared most has now happened.
Yeah. It's not being able to to provide for my family. Because I think that is where my life is grounded there.
Yeah, God gave you a taste of that, and
Yes.
so you don't want to go back to that space.
I don't want that. That's my biggest fear, because for
Mm-hmm.
me, we've got people that are looking up to us that we brought into life.
Mm-hmm.
So that,
And your greatest joy?
is when I write music.
All right. Uh-huh.
When I write music, when I do music,
Yeah.
when I direct music, when I produce music,
Yeah.
when I minister to people through that. There's nothing that gives me joy to sit down and listen to what I've done
Yeah.
more than anything.
All right.
And people say, don't you miss singing? I said, I don't miss it. I don't miss it. If I sit down, we just released a single now with Emmanuel Jehovah.
All right.
I wrote that. We released it, I think, on the 14th of December. That song, I always tell people, I dreamt. God gave me that song.
All right.
That was in 1990.
Wow.
When I wrote that song. It's in the first album of Emmanuel, a cappella.
All right.
So we did a cover version of it.
I see.
So that song, there are people that, even in the group, cry when they sing that song, when they listen to it.
The inspiration is that deep.
It's that deep. Literally, I dreamt God giving me the melody, and some of the members were standing on the fence, next to the fence, seeing Christ coming this way. That song was ringing in my mind.
Wow.
I woke up, I wrote the melody, I wrote the lyrics, and I went back to sleep. In the morning, I still remember the song like I dreamt it.
Wow.
It's one of the songs that I always say, God this time wanted me to say something. So that's what gives me pleasure.
Yeah.
When I listen to that and I said, wow. When people react to that music saying they're blessed, then I've done what God wanted me to do.
That's it. Yeah. So besides Jesus, who's your hero in life?
In what sense?
In any way, there's someone who says this one hasn't. I know you could say your father, but who's your greatest hero in life? Someone you say, this is my hero. I look up to this one.
That's a wide question you're asking me.
Yeah.
I think it starts from personal, outside. Personal, my family, my wife, she is.
Okay.
Why? Because that's a person who makes my life easy, who makes my home homely.
Wow. Nice.
That's personal. Then musically, I've got a lot of them. I've got a lot of them. And for many reasons, not just one reason.
All right.
Family, musically, there's two people like Max Mays and Gaither.
All right.
Those
Bill
people,
Gaither,
they build a legacy. If you think about Bill Gaither, what he's coming from.
Yeah.
You think about Max. Obvious, by the way, they are not far from each other age-wise.
Same generation. Yeah.
Yes, same generation. And look at what they've accomplished writing music, especially Gaither on the writing part. But on the legacy of music, Max Mays has established that. And then we'll go to others then outside those ones. That's when we zoom into writing, we zooming into performance and other things.
Yeah.
So those are and then obviously coming to the African way in South Africa.
Yeah.
Benjamin Dube.
Oh yes.
The best South African
worshipper. That one is a worshipper, that one.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Listen to that. Listen
worship.
to the music.
Yeah.
And for me, all the other music, South African music, I always listen to worship and I listen to the musicality of things. This thing of singing chorus, nothing else.
Yeah, repeating the same
the same thing.
Yeah.
You must have something that says I'm a musician.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
That's how I write sometimes. I write to say, like that.
Anything else you'd like to share with us which we have not touched?
Like what? I say everything I say in the context of what I need to say. I don't leave anything behind.
Yes. Now, if people want to connect with you, where do they find you? Online, social media, a website? What do you have? Where can they find you?
Facebook, I'm there. Dan Mphuti.
Yes.
As well as I don't use much of other social medias because I'm not a social media person.
All right.
I'm there for specific
Consumptions
reasons.
and maybe
specific reasons. And you will find me in Facebook. I don't comment much, but I think the reason why I went there, it was because of Emmanuel.
All right, yeah,
and musical projects.
Pages,
yeah. So Twitter, I'm there. I'm also on Instagram.
All right,
Dan Mphuti.
Yes.
So I'm there.
Awesome.
That's where you find me.
Awesome. My brother, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me.
Yes, it's been a pleasure, and I really have enjoyed this rich journey. And we pray that God gives you success in all your projects, and may you prosper, and may your life be celebrated. I think the reason why I brought you here is because I know something told me there is a person that has got a life-changing story, especially in terms of ministry. Because you've been around the block for a while. Yeah. And you may not belong to some of these new lists we are seeing of celebrities, but I trust and I pray and I know you are celebrated in heaven.
Amen.
For your work and your ministry. God bless you and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And to our viewers, that's all we had. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to this life-transforming story. Brother Dan Mphuti's journey with God. We would love to hear from you. So drop us a comment below. Let us know what part of the story really moved you. Let us know whatever you have. We've talked about a few people here. If you have listened to this, you've watched this, you've been blessed, please leave a comment below. And remember, before you knock off and go, like, subscribe, and follow MelVee Broadcasting Network, a divine voice out of Africa. God bless you, and bye-bye.